Hi everyone, welcome to our Guaranteed Internship webinar this afternoon. We're just going to give it a minute or so just so people can join the call. You should be able to ask your questions and post things in the chat at the right of your screen. So if you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please just pop them into the chat and we'll answer them during the session. So first of all, I'll start by introducing who we've got on the call today. So I'm Sian, I'm the International Marketing Manager for the university. We've got Emily Huns, who's the Head of Careers and Entrepreneurship for Sussex. And she's going to talk you through the Guaranteed Internship Scheme and how it works. We've also got Cheyenne, who's the Faculty Student Experience Lead for the Business School, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about employability in the business school and why it's so important for our students. We've also got Emily Jones on the call. Emily's a current master's student and she's completed one of the internships with us before. So after the main presentation, Emily will be able to share a little bit about her experience of completing her internship, which should hopefully be interesting for all of you. Maybe if you want to put in the chat, like where you're from, what course you're going to be studying in the business school, if you've got an offer. Yeah, it's just really great to have you all here today. So, without further ado, I'm going to go over to Cheyenne first.
Thank you, Shan, and hello, everybody. My name is Shan Washitio, and I'm the Faculty Student Experience Lead here in the University of Sussex Business School. I'm also an Associate Professor in Accounting and the Director of MSc Accounting and Finance. I'm just here to welcome you to the session and also to explain very briefly that employability is actually core in our curriculum, and it's a central focus for us here in the business school. So it's embedded in our curriculum, in our teaching, in the way we assess. So we assess employability skills like presentation, collaboration, communication, leadership, and so on. But while it's important to get the subject knowledge, we feel it's also important to have hands-on experience wherever the opportunity allows us to do so. And that's why we've rolled out this opportunity to all postgraduate taught students in the business school from this academic year to have a guaranteed internship should they choose to have that. So there are two different schemes that Emily, who is our head of careers and entrepreneurship, would delve into in a short while. And if you have any questions, please do let us know. Also, too, and I'm sure you all know this, employability is not just about getting a job once you graduate. It's about developing those skills that will help you excel in your career, whatever that is. So it could be, running a business, it could be working in private sector, public sector, or charity sector. And we have been able to have lots of success stories so far, but we would like to have more, and that's why we've rolled out this opportunity to all PG students in the business school. So I'm going to hand over to Emily now for her own session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. And it's lovely to be here to tell you about this offer, which we hope you'll be really excited about. We certainly are. So do ask your questions, as Sian and Sharon have said. If anything I say needs further clarification, then do just pop something in the chat. I'm going to talk for about 15 minutes before handing over to the other Emily, who's going to tell you about her experience with one of the internships that I'm going to talk about. So we want, as Sharon has mentioned, to make sure that as many of our students as possible get real world experience that isn't necessarily in their curriculum, although we do that too. But the guarantee is that if you join us on one of our master's courses in the year 26-27, we will guarantee that we will be able to give you an internship that runs alongside your degree. And this will give you industry experience, connection to an employer. and it'll give you a head start in your career in just the ways that Sharon mentioned. So skills development, employer connection, real work experience for your CV. And we're really excited about being able to give you some options around that. So it is open to you whether you are a UK home student. It's open to you if you are one of our international students. You must be studying full-time or part-time on a campus-based master's course in the University of Sussex Business School. And your course must be beginning in either September 2026 or January 2027. And by the way, if you are studying with us part-time, you must complete your internship no later than the end of April in 2028. And the other thing we ask of you is that you let us know that you want to take us up on this offer. So as you'll see later on in my slide deck, we'll send you an email as you begin with us, and then you need to let us know by the deadline that you are keen to take up this guaranteed offer. So what we've done, because we know that each of you has a different set of interests and ambitions, is we've provided a menu of internships that you can choose from. And in those first few weeks when you arrive with us, we'll send you an email to invite you to tell us what your first and second choice of internship type might be. And we have 3 types of internship. So first of all, we have a collaborative internship, and that's with a UK employer client through our student consultancy program. And I'm going to talk in a minute about each of these options in a bit more detail. Then we have an online internship. So that's an internship that rather than in person, you do from your own chosen location with an employer either in the UK or outside of the UK. And then we have a third option, which is an in-person internship with an employer in China. And that option is only available to Chinese national students. So 3 options. I shall talk first of all about the collaborative internship. So we here at the University of Sussex run a really successful student consultancy program where we invite our employer partners to bring a genuine challenge that they are facing in their business. And then we arrange for a multidisciplinary team of students to address that challenge. So you as students work collaboratively as student consultants on a live client challenge. And we have project briefs come in from employers right across the UK, from different sectors, big corporates, medium-sized companies, startups, NGOs, charities, community organisations. So all sorts of organisations across all sectors. And those organisations stand as your client, and you will meet your client at the start of that consultancy experience, and then the client will brief you and your student colleagues on the challenge. You'll then work in a team, doing the research, identifying the challenges, understanding the challenge, bringing data together, exploring it further, and pitching that, presenting that back to your client at the end of the consultancy period. So this is an amazing opportunity to become a consultant to a live employer client in the UK, and to develop all of those skills, which we know are so essential for the graduate job market. So whilst you'll initially meet your client at the start and at the end and be in contact with the client in the middle, a lot of what you do with your collaborators will be remote working or on campus working. So this works really beautifully, flexibly alongside your study. And we do pay our student consultants through a bursary system because the employer is, very acknowledges the real value of the presentation material that comes to them as a result of this experience. So that's our first opportunity, our first type of internship. Our second type of internship, let me tell you a little bit more about that. So here we work with a partner called Virtual Internships. Virtual Internships has a network of over 20,000 host companies across the world. So in 190 countries. So you may already know that you want to get international experience, experience in a third market, or you may wish to have experience in the UK. Through this type of internship, you can choose whether your internship is in the UK with a UK employer or whether it is with an employer outside the UK. You will work on live projects, you'll work on all your tasks from your home because it's an online internship, and you'll be supported by virtual internships who will put on a program of support around your career readiness, a little bit of coaching, covering topics such as your CV, maybe your LinkedIn profile, networking techniques, and how you articulate this experience that you're having to future employers. Again, it's part-time alongside your study. You can take this during term time or in the summer, and there are flexible start times throughout the year. This opportunity is unpaid. You get the training around your CV and your career direction as part of it. So that's the second opportunity. And then the third type is just available to our Chinese national students. And this is an opportunity to do an in-person internship with an employer in China. Very important that I say here that if you were to select this type, then you would complete this internship after your studies have finished. It lasts at least 3 months. It is paid in line with the standard China internship rate, and the university covers the program fee. So no cost to you. It is in partnership with our supplier. It is an opportunity to apply your learning in a professional setting. These sorts of opportunities tend to sit across finance, consulting, marketing, supply chain, and data. So very nicely aligned with our business school programs. And there you can see on that slide are some of the big names that our partner works with in terms of host companies. So hopefully that gives you a taster of the 3 types of internship and that you could choose from in this offer. So what about the process? So first of all, as I mentioned, you would need to register your interest by the deadline, and we will make this really clear to you in an email you receive from my team at the start of your time with us. You select then your first and second choice of internship type, and we will always try to allocate your first choice, but it won't always be possible. It will usually be possible, and we certainly guarantee that you will get either your first or second choice. And then you'll be allocated to an internship, and we'll ask you to complete a form and look at some of the options within that form. So in some cases, you'll have some choice about what kind of sector you work for. And we don't guarantee that you'll always get exactly what you want, but we do our very, very best to align it to everything that you're looking for. And then off you go, you start your internship, and we stay in touch throughout that internship to check everything's going well, take any questions from you. And we just ask that you engage really proactively with that process and respond to us in our communication so that we can keep really aligned with what you need and what you're after throughout. Okay, so that's something on the process. We thought we'd finish just as a nice bridge into Emily Jones's bit of our webinar. and a couple of the nice things that our students have said about these internships. We've been running these internships for students for a little while, and this is the first time that we've offered it as a guarantee to our business school master's students. So that's really exciting for us. We're expanding what we do, but we already know it works for students. And here we have a nice quote from one of our students who completed the student consultancy activity, saying how fun it was, that it was very manageable alongside his degree, and also allowed these other skills, perhaps that you didn't even know you had yet, to strengthen and evidence. And in this case, maybe also even see if consulting is the career that you want to take forward. But by no means is this a set of skills unique to consulting in a very client-focused global economy. This is a great experience for you to get a chance to work with clients and get used to working with clients, communicating with clients, managing clients, pitching back to clients, whether you go down the road of a consultancy career or not. And Sky fed back on a recent online internship how welcomed she felt by the business, even though she was working online, really part of the team, and people were really open to her ideas and inviting her to contribute. So a very worthwhile experience for her CV as well. So I really would welcome questions. Sian, do you want to take questions at the end after Emily's spoken?
Yes, I think that's the best
Yeah,
thing to do. Because then
lovely.
if you have questions for either Emily, we can answer them at once. I can see
Brilliant.
questions are coming into the chat. We are taking note of these. So yeah, please just continue to pop them in there and we'll come back to them.
Lovely. Lovely. So I think, Emily, can I invite you now to tell us a little bit about your experience? Because I know that you completed the student consultancy activity with us.
Hello. Yes, thank you for having me. So I did the student consultancy program back in my undergraduate degree, when I was studying international development. So I applied because it got sent to my inbox and my friend was like, "Oh, I'm going to go for it. You should too." So then I ended up applying and was successful in getting through. It was a relatively easy process. I just had to answer some questions about what I would prefer to do in, what sector, what businesses. And I went through the entire process fairly quickly. We had a really great session where all the students that were involved came together in a room, and we had a big presentation from some of the companies that were consulting with, and then some from staff as well. But it was a good like meeting session for us to meet our teammates because we all came from very different academic and also social backgrounds. So there was some who were undergraduate degree, some were doing their masters, but everyone was doing a completely different degree, which was great. It taught us how to sort of collaborate well with people who've got different interests, different levels of education, but also management in terms of times and busy schedules. One of the guy was running a society that we were working with. Another one, she was finishing her master's dissertation, so trying to get in and organize meetings that work for everyone was quite difficult. I think one time we had a meeting really late in the evening, and one person was like cooking dinner, another one was in the library, but it was good fun. Like we all managed to make it work. Um, so I worked with a global food company that had a base in Sussex, and we were asked to look at the waste behaviours on campus. So it was straight after just Eat Central had been refurbished. So there was this introduction of these new bins that no one had ever seen before. And these bins had about six different categories. And it was just, there was an overwhelming process of trying to separate everyone's waste or motivate students and staff to separate their waste. So that's why we were brought in as student consultants to see how we could tackle this waste behaviour problems. In doing that, we sort of hung outside the bins for like a week or so, just watching people, watching what they were doing in a non-creepy way, just to see what the sort of behaviours were like. And it was mostly people just with students that just couldn't be asked really to separate everything. So then we were coming up with ideas and methods of how we could intervene or encourage students to separate their waste properly and raise awareness. But also, one of the big issues that we had was a lot of students were international, where English wasn't necessarily their first language. So you've got these 5 different bins with different categories, but it's all written in English. So there was sort of the barrier of different languages, which was one of our suggestions to include images and videos, not just on the bins itself, but also up on the screens. So we had a really good mix of sort of like that informal data collection by sitting there and watching and seeing what people were doing, but also getting involved in designing marketing campaigns that could go up on the boards. We designed a voluntary role that could be used by the organisation and students at Sussex to gain experience, but also manage the food waste. And it just brought everything together quite nicely so that we could make these suggestions to the organisation's sustainability team. And we were fortunate enough that they had us in for an actual in-person presentation. So we had like their head of sustainability, the entire like marketing team and things like that were all together. And it was really good experience to get up there and stand up and talk to people in a corporate setting and explain what we had done, how we had done it, and then processes for moving forwards. So it was really interesting.
Thanks, Emily. And I think like pulling out of there that there was a lot of fun in and
Mm,
amongst it. There was also real recognition of the value that you could bring and the change that you could make actually in this large food supply business around their waste management approach, which they did make those changes and could also transfer them to other settings as well. So I think that what we have seen time and time again with student consultancy is real change recommended through student talent, the student time, student talent, and brain work really that businesses of all types have then been able to use to make improvements in their operations. So that's great to hear about that. And on the website about our guaranteed offer, there are some other examples of the changes that our student consultant teams have made in organisations across the country. So I think, shall we leave it there and take some questions, Sean?
Yeah, so I've just been going through the chat. So yeah, if you do have any questions, we've still got a bit of time, so just please pop them in there and we'll get to those. First question. Oh, it's great people have popped in what course they're studying, where they're from. Maria. Maria from Ecuador, I'll be studying international finance and economics. Could you please confirm whether the internship is a compulsory requirement to complete the master's?
Not at all. No, this runs alongside your degree. So if you would like to do it, please sign up. If it isn't for you, then you don't have to do it, and it isn't connected to your degree. It's what we call co-curricular. So it's relevant to your skills development, but it is not an assessed part of your degree.
Okay, next we have Chloe, who's going to be studying marketing and consumer psychology. Chloe currently has work experience in digital marketing. She wants to know, let me just find it. I don't know if you can see the question, Emily. I'm struggling to find it in the. Oh, okay. Ideally, I want to work for an international company post-masters as I want to travel and do some remote work. Do you think gaining experience um, through an online internship with an international company would be beneficial? And the networking aspect of the internship, does this also work online?
Yes and yes. I think that for someone who's looking to work globally, then the online international internship would be perfect. You might already also have a sector that you prefer to work with, and it is quite often possible also to align your interest, sector interest with where you work. Not always, but often. So that could work really nicely. And it's a great question about the online networking. So our experience, we've been running a lot of these internships, online internships with this same supplier for about 4 years now, is that the networking positive score for students who complete these internships is very high. So interestingly, the companies are absolutely engaging their interns in company life, even though it is remote. They are joining the meetings, they're connecting up to a supervisor, they are doing live tasks, so they're having regular meetings with their supervisor. So they feel networked up, even though they're working remotely. And we also have lots of evidence that our interns are staying in touch with the business afterwards. In actually all of these types of internships, we do see students being hired for paid hours because they've done such a great job. So we never guarantee that, but not infrequently, companies are so impressed by their intern that they take them on for more hours. And we see that with the remote internships too.
Amazing. Next comment from Sijal, who graduated from Sussex with Geography and International Development last year. They've now got an offer to study International Business and Development this September. They actually completed student consultancy during their final year, which is great to hear. Working for Refugee Support Europe as a fundraising consultant.
Wow.
And they said it's very rewarding to work for an international NGO. So thanks for that feedback. That's great. They also want to ask, is it beneficial for them to apply for the consultancy program again or do the online remote internship for their masters?
Oh, that's a really tricky one. I think either could work. In that instance, you might want to talk to one of my team once you get the email on your arrival, just to talk through what your thinking is and whether you do another period of consultancy or whether you go for the online opportunity, because it depends. I think we'd want to talk to you individually about that because there might be specific things you want to gain now that maybe you don't feel you have yet. And we could help then you understand whether you're most likely to get that through another period of consultancy or through an online internship. Yeah. So either could work there, but I think I'd need to know more about your circumstances.
See, Emily's got her hand up because I think she was in a similar position where she's done an undergrad in consultancy before. So yeah, Emily, if you've got a bit of perspective on that, that'd be really interesting to hear.
Yeah, no, so obviously, as I said, I did the student consultancy experience, but I also did a summer internship in my third year as my undergrad. But I also I'm just coming to the end of my master's degree in international business and development. And part of that course is you get to choose between a dissertation or a consultancy. So I would suggest that you maybe go for the internship over the summer because you will have that offer already given to you. So just to make sure that your CV is packed as full as possible.
That's good advice, isn't it? So for that particular master's, you're saying, Emily,
Yeah,
there is
that
this
one.
option to jump on consultancy as part of the program. That it's not embedded in every single master's, but it is in that
No,
one.
unfortunately
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah. I can't see any more questions in the chat.
Do you know what, Sean? I was just going to jump in because I've just got up some other examples here of the consultancy, just in case it's useful for those on the call. The sorts of consultancy challenges that have been come through our existing program, in case it's useful for those listening in. So we recently worked with ACOM, and ACOM is a global infrastructure consultancy firm which solves complex challenges for clients in water, environment, energy, transportation, and buildings. So this is a global organization, and the student consultant team supported ACOM to deliver a net zero strategy for one of their clients. So that was quite a challenging experience for them. Then we have an amazing arts venue here in Brighton called Comedia, very well known venue where a lot of different sorts of entertainments happen. And we had a student consultancy team um, who were basically tasked with growing the social media content and following for Comedia. So great if you are studying marketing, strategy of marketing, that this would be a great thing. The sorts of things that we can get you onto here. And then we had a technology-enabled market research company called Mind Lab set a challenge. They work with organisations like Uber and the BBC, and the student consultant team in this instance helped MindLab to understand the potential of their new audiences to guide their marketing strategies. So again, really valuable work there. So I just thought I'd add those things in. And if you look on the website for this offer, then you can see also the sorts of things that our online interns have been up to as well, working with a Swiss NGO and working with a Finnish corporate, a German law firm, Silicon Roundabout Ventures in the UK. So all sorts of different things that our interns have been doing to bring value to their clients and their host organisation. Thanks, Sean. I just thought I'd wrap up with those
No,
additional examples.
that's really useful. We've just got a final question that's come through from Oscar in the chat. Oscar asks, under collaborative internship, please can you explain what the paid through the bursary means?
Yeah, good question. Yes, so it is a payment for a set number of hours at our UK living wage. So it's a decent amount for the hours that you commit to the consultancy, and there is a limit to the number of hours that we pay there. But it is paid through bursary because it's simpler to do it that way, because we have so many employer clients now involved in our student consultancy that we want our students to get speedy payment. So we do it through a bursary rather than requiring hundreds and hundreds of employer clients to do the payment directly. That's all that means. Does that make sense? Let me know if not.
So I think that's all the questions. We've got someone with their hand up. I don't know if you want to ask your question or pop it in the chat for us. Um, you're more than welcome. But also on the screen, you'll see you've got details of how to find out about the career support that we offer here at Sussex. So you can visit our website and also our career social channels as well. And we'll be sending the recording around afterwards with a link to the Guaranteed Internships page, which I think is where you'll find those examples that Emily was talking through. And yeah, if you've got any other questions, then we'll pop details in that email so that you can get in touch. But I think that's
Sean, do you want
everything.
me to say a few things about the career support here, which
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful, Emily,
Yeah,
because obviously that applies to
everyone.
everyone. So
It
yeah, if
does.
you've
Yeah. Yeah,
got a couple of
thanks as well.
minutes.
Yeah, good to finish up with that. So obviously this is a new offer, this guarantee of an internship. But what we have always done at Sussex is provide you with the opportunity to sit down one-to-one with a careers consultant to talk about what you want to do next after you finish your master's. You might want to use that time to talk about options and explore those options, but you might want to use it to look at your CV together, for example, or prepare for an interview that you have coming up. We also have self-serve tools, both for our international students and our UK students, and that includes a big vacancy site where you can log in and find many thousands at any time of different types of vacancy, part-time jobs, internships, and graduate level jobs, volunteer opportunities too. And we can show you what that looks like at any given time. It's really great variety of roles. You can access 24 hours an AI-led CV feedback tool. So that's really useful, just to be able to upload your CV and get some feedback immediately. And then we run lots of employer events throughout the year. So as one of our students, you can book for those, come in, meet employers, talk to them about the career pathway that they've taken, talk to them about the jobs they have on offer. So that's just a sort of taster of the sorts of support that you can get, as well as this guarantee of an internship. Thanks, Sean.
Just a couple more questions, Emily, before we wrap up. Another one, oh, so one's come through on the Q&A from Mara. Is the internship paid or unpaid?
Depends which type you choose, Mara. So the collaborative internship, there is a payment through a bursary system, as I just mentioned. Then the online internship isn't paid. That's an unpaid opportunity. The opportunity for our Chinese nationals in China is paid. So 2 out of 3 are paid.
How many hours per week would an intern usually work? And how long does an internship last?
Yes, okay. So that varies a bit depending on the type as well. So the collaborative internship is around about 20 hours of work plus training time. And that is flexibly delivered over a 6-week period. So this is why it can work really nicely alongside your studies, or you can do it in the summer holidays. So it's very flexibly delivered, not too many hours, but very rich hours of value for your CV. And then the online internship is 4 to 6 weeks. You can do it part-time or you can do it full-time, depending on your preference. Again, you can do it alongside term time, or you could do it in the summer holidays. And then the China internship is the longest one. That is at least 3 months, and it is done after your studies, so that is why it's longer. And generally that is full time. So it depends on the type. And if you look at the detail on the web page, all of that is there, so you can make a careful decision that works for you.
Great. So I think that's all the questions that we've got. So thank you to our speakers, to two Emilys and Cheyenne. It's been really great to have this discussion about the Guaranteed Internship Scheme. We hope this has been useful and you sort of found it interesting getting to know more about what it is before you arrive. And yeah, we really hope to welcome you to Sussex in September. So thanks everyone. And yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.